So what is going on, guys? This is Ryan here and welcome to a new Scott Games teaser video. Now, you may have noticed that other Ryan did not actually do his intro, and that is because he is on vacation. However, during the time he's away, Scott has still teased another image which is really awesome, and we're going to be exploring today. So this should be a very interesting video, and let's start by analyzing what we see on the surface. So instantly we have 7 new animatronics. However, there is actually 8 in total in shop. We'll get to that very soon. These characters are very unique in their appearance and build. We did not see these guys in the teaser trailer, or actually we may have again. More on that just in a second though. But these guys seem to resemble very young characters, and I say very young due to a couple of facts. The first thing we can look at is actually the teeth. Now, these guys seem to only have 4 teeth, which is an interesting design choice, and possibly this might be Scott's way of hinting that these guys are younger and that's why they have less teeth. I know we've seen this sort of thing as well in the past with the Five Nights at Freddy's, but perhaps with this new establishment, that's the way Scott is kind of going to be telling us, at least in these teaser images, the age of the characters we're seeing. Now, another point on how we know these characters seem to be very young is the fact of their head to body size ratio. You can see that their head is almost as large as their torso, or actually is slightly larger than their torso, and also the pelvis region. So we can definitely say that these characters are very small, and that's probably why there's 7 of them as well, because Scott would have probably thought, you know, one of these guys being very small isn't enough. So by having 7 of these guys, then they start to build up in weight, and more of these guys is more chaos. And another factor as well is that these guys actually have no hair, and this might just be a simplistic design choice, but however, you know, newborns don't actually have any hair, or at least they don't have much hair when they're first born, and that might be another design choice on Scott's behalf. So now let's get to brightening this image. If we actually brighten the whole of the image, we don't see a whole lot. However, if we focus in the top right-hand corner, we see what appears to be a familiar face. This looks to be the face, guys, of Baby. Of course, the animatronic that appears to be the leader of the sister location establishment. And I guess this again correlates to the fact that these guys are small. When we look at the size of Baby's head in relation to how big these characters are, you got to remember as well, guys, Baby is in the background here, so her head is probably larger if she was brought towards the foreground, like towards the same distance of these smaller characters. Also, another thing is that we saw that she's one of the smallest characters, if not the smallest, in the establishment when we see her at the front and the lights are pinging on. So that goes to show how small these guys will be. And another thing we can actually point out with this, or at least I can speculate as of now until we get a full name release, is that these characters in the shot, I believe to be nicknamed BidyBab. And this is for several reasons. The most important one being, and we've spoke about this in the past as well, Biddy can be a slang for small. We hear the saying itty bitty, that refers to something small, and Bab is also a shortened slang for words, I guess you could say. And that name actually makes a lot of sense when we see these guys now. BidyBab, small babies, 7 of them to be precise. That's a lot of small babies that are probably going to be trying to kill us. Let's actually backtrack to that idea though. So 7 of these guys might be too many to keep an eye on when they're attacking you. So I don't actually think these guys will be much of protagonists in the sense of they will come to jump scare you, because 7 different directions plus the other guys on stage, that's like 11 characters. That's almost too many. So I honestly think these will prove to be more of a distraction and something you got to keep an eye on. Kind of like the Freddles in FNAF 4. I mean, we can see Baby again in the background, almost looking down on these guys, like maybe she will have an influence on how these guys interact with us. So maybe it's like a prevention mechanic where we've got to stop Baby from getting to these guys, like maybe on a little side thing where she might go out a shot into a back room rather than coming to attack us. So this might mean like multi-purpose animatronics. Maybe by stopping Baby, we can prevent her from killing us, and then she might actually go off and do this as well, maybe as like a side distraction. So we can't just focus on, for example, the way Foxy would always run. You know, it might be like Baby will come to the office, aka the Foxy running equivalent, and she might also be doing a different thing entirely, which I guess goes to show some form of conscience and artificial intelligence. Whereas we prevent her from coming into the office, it may anger her and she'll go to these guys as well. These guys, I guess, will work a lot like the Freddles in FNAF 4, where we look back, we could get rid of them very easy. I mean, there's 7 of them again, guys. I couldn't see these all attacking us at once in the office. It's just too much, and they're too small, which I guess can move on to the other theory I have, which maybe these guys will be the distraction and might actually interfere with the electricals of the place or things of that nature. You know, these guys are the smallest characters we think as of yet from what we've seen in the teasers to be moving around these guys, and they all look mechanic as well. So these guys could probably get into ventilation systems in the back of places, mess with the electronics, and I guess we could also refer back to these guys possibly destroying what appears to be the circuit board in the teaser trailer when there's all chaos and breaking free within this place, and havoc is absolutely being wreaked. I mean, it doesn't make sense, excuse me, how it might be one of the bigger animatronics doing this, and now that we got these small guys, I mean, 7 of them messing up with the wires, that could definitely make for some malfunctions. Many people have also pointed out that we have actually seen these guys before, and that sounds crazy to think about, but in the sister location teaser trailer, if we pause on the right frame in the top right of an image where the office is absolutely going crazy, we can see a picture of Baby with what appears to be a smaller character hanging off of possibly the arm region. So this is interesting because it shows another interaction with the Baby animatronic, and now when we brighten this image and we see Baby in the background as well, there's another hint. So these two images both correlate and make a lot of sense now as to why we might see this little guy hanging off of Baby. Maybe she acts as like almost the mother to these smaller animatronics, and she might influence these guys to wreak havoc and kind of change the mentality that these guys have, because, you know, older people can do that to younger kids and also, I guess, animatronics in this stage. So it'll be very interesting to see. Another thing on the teaser image as well is that there appears to be some strange strings hanging on the left-hand side over near the balloons just behind these guys. This may be something to do with these guys, but we can actually see them on the right-hand side. So this might just be some set dressing, or alternatively, it could be some kind of like puppet strings controlling these guys. We're not quite sure yet. It might even be another animatronic in the background right there. It might be hinting towards the puppet being there. Of course, we know he has the strings, which will be extremely interesting, but as of now, we can only speculate and we can't confirm anything. And finally, to end this video as well, it makes me question the significance of the two guys that we see in the office. These guys seem very similar to these animatronics, and perhaps these guys might hint to us when these guys are wreaking havoc. It seems like for the most part, the guy that sits underneath the speaker doesn't really have much to move with. He looks like a wooden figure perhaps, so I don't know how this guy would actually move, but however, we might see the eyes move of this character. That might signify unique events and might hint towards these animatronics actually moving to make life a little bit easier in case, you know, we already have to pay attention to the other guys as they kind of do their own things around the place, because 7 of these guys, as I've said again, that's a lot to take care of, and seeing possibly even one of these guys move if you're in a panic and only one's gone and you still see the 6 in position, that one could do a lot of damage, and having a hint as well in the office that these guys have actually moved will probably help us out and make the game feel a little bit more playable and not too crazily difficult. One other final thing, guys, is that there is nothing new been added to the source code, so we can't actually speculate on anything just yet. We know Scott updated that after the release of the previous teaser, so it's interesting to think like that, and I guess all we can do in the meantime, guys, is just kind of speculate what this image could mean and really just get the community thinking about what these guys will do and things of that nature. And guys, hopefully, of course, you have enjoyed this video. Also, if you did, be sure to drop us that like rating and also subscribe as well for more indie games and also theory videos. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I, of course, hope you did enjoy, and I will, of course, see you on the next one. Goodbye, guys. Want to see even more content from us?
Consider liking and subscribing to ensure you'll see all content in the foreseeable future.
And hey, why not check out our past 2 videos?